Persona 5 is a game that I absolutely love. I've made videos gushing about all of the things that make it an amazing game. I made these videos intentionally without criticism because they're not reviews of the game. They're just videos where I wanted to share my passion about what I love about this game. But of course, I couldn't turn my critical mind completely off while I played through Persona 5 Royale. There were parts of it that if I wanted to be critical of, I could. In the moment, I usually choose to let these things go once a game has what I like to call my buy-in. Once I've decided that I like a game, I let little things slide. Whereas when I'm unsure if I think a game is worth my time or not, I let my critical eye run wild. And occasionally, like when playing games like Final Fantasy XIV or Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I run into the same problems enough problems again and again that a game will lose my buy-in and I'm no longer forgiving, and I just quit. Like a friend who says something a little rude. It's no big deal the first time, it's not worth ruining a friendship over, but if they're rude to you every single time you boot them up to play a few hours, at some point, you're just gonna uninstall your friend and download a better one.
Damn it. Am I gonna lose again? Not only can I not run anymore, the track team is gone too because of this asshole.
So in this video, I'm gonna go over the few criticisms I have about Persona 5 Royale, but remember, none of these things were enough to keep me from having one of the best experiences I've had with a modern game. The first one is this game is too damn long. This game took me over 150 hours to beat. Part of me loves this, but the completionist part of me that loves to check things off lists absolutely hated this. There were times when I started a new dungeon that I knew would take 7-8 hours to beat, where I wished I could just move the story on a little bit quicker. Now, what I did with my downtime during the dungeons, I actually really enjoyed in the game. But for me personally, it was the actual dungeons and combat that felt like a slog. The game does do a good job at keeping the dungeons and the boss battles fresh, but for some people, turn-based combat and long dungeons are just simply not that fun. I was playing the game on hard mode at first until I got stuck on the space station boss for like 3 hours when I decided I just had enough. I wanted to see what happened with the story, so I just lowered the difficulty so I could move on. Now, some people don't mind this. I know people love difficulty, and I do too, but honestly, I love the story and spending time with the different characters so much that I found most of the dungeons as a hindrance on my fun rather than a fun challenge that I was excited for. I think if I were to suggest a fix for this problem, it would simply be that I'd love for the dungeons to be about maybe 25-30% shorter. Please let me know what you think about this. I know people are gonna absolutely disagree with me here, but I'd love to hear your level-headed, polite comments in the comments section. The second thing is a tough one because I'm not sure I want them to change this, but there are some things I didn't love about the fact that you can't really do a 100% run when it comes to confidant relationships in your first playthrough. It may be possible if you follow a guide, but who the hell is going to follow a guide on their first playthrough in a Persona game? The whole point of these games is to explore and find out things organically and serendipitously. I mean, play however you want, but for me, about halfway through the game, I realized that I was never going to max out everybody's confidant rankings. So that's when I started preparing a bit more when I went into Mementos or any dungeon so I could min-max my time a little bit better, but it was already too late. There were some storylines that I never got to see the end of. Now, part of me likes the idea that there's more content for me to go and unlock on my next playthrough, or I could just go online and watch myself in my free time, but I also just wish I could have seen some of the storylines through in my first playthrough. During your first playthrough of any game, you're just gonna be the most engaged that you're ever gonna be. You're gonna be super into it, and when I beat the game, I just feel a little bit less enthralled or motivated to go back through things. I remember a lot of what already happened, so it's not like the first time. Just a hard one because I love the fact that you have the freedom of choice in Persona 5, but that also comes with consequences, that you'll have to make choices that will make it so that you don't get to experience everything.
A black mask? Wait, is she the one Madarame and Kaneshiro were talking about?
So, she's the reason for all those people going brain dead? It was a girl this whole time?
The third thing that I would say I didn't love about Persona 5 is Haru's character. Now, I actually like her character and her character design, but she was the last person to join the Phantom Thieves. But Haru is just introduced so late into the game that her character felt a little half-baked. I felt like her story moments were a little rushed, and her story moments were actually pretty damn tragic, and it just seems a little sloppy having someone join up so quick, having such tragic events happen so quickly, but then still have that person be on board with everything. The game absolutely tries to address this, but I feel like that if I met up with a bunch of people and then what happened to her happened to me, I don't think that I would still be calling these new people my friends, but that's just me. And because I was bought into the game, like I said, I bought it. It was okay, but I do think this was a moment where the game's goodwill that is built up carried me a bit. Maybe if Haru was introduced a little earlier into the game, it would have been a little better for me. They did try and do this a bit. The first time you interact with her, I believe, is in Hawaii or shortly before, but I still just think her story arc was a little bit rushed. Before I go into the next one, I want to give a bit of a spoiler warning. I guess this whole video is a little bit spoilers, but this one in particular, you probably don't want to watch if you haven't played the game. So the next thing that I would say is a flaw is also something that I absolutely loved, and this was the whole twist towards the end of the game. This was when Akechi shoots your character in the head, but surprise, surprise, you tricked him and you didn't die. Now again, I had buy-in, and I thought this part was hella cool. I was excited to see how this played out, and it was a fun misdirection. But if I wanted to be critical here, this plan was absolutely crazy. It had so many ways it could have gone deathly wrong, and it just happened to have been pulled off perfectly. Again, the game earned my goodwill, and I thought that this part was really cool because I knew Akechi was bad news. I never trusted his ass, and I loved that my character in-game wasn't stupid, and he realized it too, and outsmarted him. I love that. But goddamn, was that some pretty convenient writing. I have to say something about it. Okay, so the fifth and last big gripe that I have with this game is that I didn't play it sooner. The game's great. I highly recommend playing it on a handheld. I played most of it on my Steam Deck. I know they also have it on Nintendo Switch. I love this game. I thought it was one of my favorite games of all time, but there you go. That was my attempt at appearing somewhat objective about this game. I don't tend to strive for objectivity. I feel like objectivity is put on a pedestal online. People demand it from everyone, which is a good thing if you're dealing with people who's a reviewer, who's trying to make you buy something. I guess I did recommend that you should buy it, but that's not the goal for my channel. I'm not trying to give you some super objective, full big picture scope looks at games so you have all of the information that you need to make an informed buying decision. I just want to create a place for people to talk about their favorite games. I know a lot of times when playing a game, you may be the only one you know in real life that is playing it or that has played it. So it's comforting to find other people online who have had that same shared experience. So that's what I'm hoping to do with my YouTube channel. So if that interests you, please subscribe. Let me know what you think of Persona 5. Check out my other videos. Let me know if you have any other game recommendations that you'd like me to cover. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.